UFC 316 Dvalishvili versus O'Malley 2 takes place this weekend, and I'm going to be predicting every single fight in the card. Starting off the early prelims, I'm going to start off with the early prelim opener of Salkilld versus Ashmouz. Salkilld does have that win over Anshul Jabli inside 19 seconds, which very good win for him to be fair, but it is Anshul Jabli, so we got to take it with a grain of salt. Redeeming piece, Anshul Jabli, he got murked that night, sent straight back to the lobby, but he is quite long, Salkilld. He's got a 75-inch reach, and that's a 7-inch advantage over Ashmouz going into this fight with a 68-inch reach. Salkild's also quite big for the division. He's like the physical embodiment of the new lightweight style, where they're taller, they're longer, they're starting to get a little bit bigger as well. So I think Salkilld gets this one done. He does have good knockout power. It is, and we can't really be rating a knockout over Anshul Jabli. He got knocked out by Mike Breedon, but it is still a knockout and it's 19 seconds, so we've got to give it some respect. I think he knocks out Ashmouz. I think he does have an overhand right in round number 2, and then just goes hammer fist, puts him out cold. Moving on, Jeka Saragih versus Ju Sang Yu. Saragih's got a loss to Anshul Jabli. So we're just saying how bad Anshul Jabli is before. Saragih's got a loss to the guy. So I don't even need to break down this fight. Ju Sang Yu is winning. Don't need to break down the fight. Ju Sang Yu's going to win. Saragih's got a loss to Anshul Jabli. Moving on. Aranine Da Silva. So I've butchered that name, haven't I? Da Silva versus Wang Cong. Da Silva is awful. I mean, she lost her last fight despite being a heavy favorite. I watched that fight live and I remember no details from the fight whatsoever. That's how boring it was. It was a boring, terrible performance from Da Silva. Wang Cong is quite good as well. She's quite good. She's quite competent inside that. I want to say strawweight division. I got to double check this real quick. We have to check this, brother. Flyweight division. Quite good inside that flyweight division, unless she gets dropped and submitted like she did in Macau when she fought that complete bomb. I forgot who that was completely. We're going to have a look now. Fernandez. She was a heavy favorite. Fernandez just catches her and submits of a rear naked choke. You know, Wang Cong's quite good. Unless I don't see that happening here. Unless that does happen, she's going to win this fight by clear 30-27 decision. Moving on. Merderos versus Mark Choinski. Mark Choinski is some random guy they've got from Showtime's promotion, which I'm going to hold up my hands and say I've never watched a single fight from Anthony Pettis Fighting Championship. It's a terrible name to begin with. Why are we naming the championship directly after you? Like, surely we can think of a better name. Showtime Fighting Championship sounds better, personally. But, I mean, maybe there's copyright issues. I don't really care. I rate Markel Merdos, though. I think he's quite good. He can grit down when he needs to. He's got good boxing combinations. He won his last fight quite clearly, in my opinion. Was a split decision, but I thought he won that very clearly because he got out-grappled in that third round, and then he worked his way back up to his feet, scrambled, and then started throwing out big shots, big elbows, and just did more damage and won the round on damage, which I like. That's something we don't see a lot in MMA these days. So I think he gets this one done. I think he grits out a 29-28 decision. Moving on, we're now into the prelims. Ooh, change of background. Khaos Williams versus Andreas Gustafsson. Gustafsson was meant to fight last week against half the unranked UFC roster. He's been offered every single unranked UFC welterweight on the roster. He's meant to fight Wells. Wells pulled out. He's meant to then fight Giles on short notice. Giles then gets injured because he's not a full-time fighter. He's a police officer. And then now he's fighting this week against Khaos Williams. I think Williams is good. He's UFC quality, but he's not ranked quality. So he's not going to get ranked. You know what I mean? He's not going to beat any of the ranked fighters. He's not going to be that top level inside the welterweight division. So he's more of that just gatekeeper into the UFC kind of introduction guy. Is Gus that good? Is the question. And if we look at this fight stylistically, Williams relies a lot more on power than he does technique. Gus is kind of the same. So we've got these two nuclear welterweights who's going to try and go at it. And Gus's game kind of relies on him brawling with his opponent and pushing him back against the fence and then using dirty boxing against the fence to knock him out. I think Williams might put him out in round number 1. If Gus isn't careful, because Gus gets hit a lot. His striking defense is very questionable at times. I think Williams will put him out. It says round 2 KO on the screen. I think round 1, personally. Because Gus's game relies on him just tanking shots, hitting him 4 times and getting hit 3 times. And with Williams relying a lot of power into his shot and putting a lot of powers into his shots. Sorry, my English kind of went downhill there. I think he puts Gustafsson out here, and I think he puts him out inside round number 1. Moving on. Sergey Spivac. He's a great fighter. I love to fight him. Versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. Cortez Acosta coming off a good knockout win over Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann wasn't properly bulked for heavyweight, though. He kind of just rocked up with an extra 10 pounds of body fat. Looked a little bit like a skinny fat, just 6'4" guy. I did also pick, Ryan Spann to beat Waldo Cortez Acosta, because I thought lighter man's skill, you know. But Waldo Cortez Acosta just put him out cold. He is good, Waldo Cortez Acosta. But I think he's found his match here in Sergey Spivac. Sergey, he's going to mix in the takedowns. I don't think Waldo Cortez Acosta, despite being a ball of muscle, I don't think he's going to be able to stuff the takedowns off Spivac. I think Spivac gets a takedown, and I think he works his way to get an armbar submission in round number 1. I think he submits him late round 1, or early round number 2. Moving on. Brenson Ribeiro versus Asmat Murzaakano. Initially, this was meant to be Johnny Walker versus Murzaakano, and I was going to pick Murzaakano by round 1 murking of Johnny Walker within the first 2 minutes, because Johnny Walker's the most chinnable guy in the roster. I mean, realistically, you slam a door in this man's face and he's going out cold. That gust of wind from that door being slammed, Johnny Walker's asleep. I think Ribeiro is quite chinny as well, to be fair. He's quite long, but Murzaakano is fast. For his size, he kind of looks like you ever like eating a Magnum and like chewed all the chocolate off the outside and then the ice cream just starts melting? Yeah, that looks a little bit like Murzaakano, but he is quite fast. And although he looks quite harmless, he can put you out cold. And I think he will just chin Ribeiro inside round number 1. And I think he's going to win this fight with round 1 knockout over Ribeiro. I mean, Ribeiro got chinned by Zhang Mingyang inside the first 2 minutes. He did give Zhang Mingyang some tough strikes, to be fair. When they fought, he did, not tough strikes, that's not the word, but he did give Zhang Mingyang a little bit of a tough time before eventually getting knocked out 1 minute 41 seconds into the fight. So I think Murzaakano will get this one done inside round number 1. What? I'm just opened up Ribeiro's topology now. He's fought 3 other times since that Zhang Mingyang fight, which is insane, because that was in February 2024, and this is going to be his 4th fight, since that fight, which is insane. But moving on, I think Murzaakanov's going to knock him out in round number 1. That's irrelevant information. Let's go. Moving on. Bruno Silva versus Joshua Van. I like Joshua Van. Favorite flyweight fighter. I'm obviously going to pick him to win. I'm saying he gets it done by decision. Plus, Bruno Silva is kind of past his peak, if we're going to be honest here. He got pieced up and knocked out by Manel Kape. Is he past his peak, though? He's on a 4-fight win streak since then. But this is going to be his 5th fight in 5 years. I don't know about that one. I don't like that for Bruno Silva. He's 14-6 as well. 14-6-2 is not a very good record for a UFC quality opponent. Obviously, if it's in the women's division, we're going to let it go because there's no competition over there. So we get people who are like 10-7. Andre Adeline, who fought last week. You know, I guess that's just where am I going with this point? I don't even know. Joshua Van, I think he beats Bruno Silva. He's a big favourite, though, to be fair. I guess the odds makers have just upped their game. But I think Joshua Van beats him. I like Joshua Van. It's going to be a vintage Joshua Van performance. 30-27. Moving on. Main card time. Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland. This is a tough one to predict, I'm going to be honest. Vicente Luque is past his peak, 100%. There's no denying the fact that this man is past his best days are behind him. He just submitted Themba Gorimbo with the fastest anaconda choke in the history of the UFC, though. So, you know what I'm saying? And then he beat Rafael dos Anjos in a 5-round decision. Was that in the Apex? If it was in the Apex, it wasn't the Apex. Nice one. So, and then before that, he loses to Jeff Neal by knockout. And then Bilal Muhammad, but then he goes on a huge winning streak. So, I don't know. But with Vicente Luque, I think he loses this fight. But then again, it's Kevin Holland, man. He doesn't take his career seriously. Like, he just pops up every 45 to 70 days to just lose. Like, I'm going to pick Kevin Holland to win. I've just put it on the screen. Round 2 knockout, Kevin Holland. But he doesn't take his career seriously. So then again, you can't, confidently pick him to win against anyone. You can't confidently pick Kevin Holland to win. Do you know what a 45-70 is? 45-70. That's my ego, 45-70. You can't confidently pick Kevin Holland to win anything because you don't know if he's going to turn up and actually be in good shape Or if he's just going to turn up and get submitted in the first round after not training any wrestling at all or grappling defense. So he's got good striking off his back, though, to be fair. What am I going to say? But he is at welterweight. Kevin Holland at welterweight. People forget, man. Kevin Holland at welterweight. He's a marauder. At welterweight, Kevin Holland's very good. And he's actually, I think that means he's going to actually try because he's at welterweight and he's cutting down to 170 like he should be doing. Like, you shouldn't be fighting at 185 when you weigh 189 pounds. You know what I mean? And then complain about the other guy weighing more than you. Like, you know what I mean? You put yourself in that box. Don't complain about the other guy weighing more than you when you're fighting a weight division up. You know what I mean? Of course he's going to weigh more than you. I don't know. I guess I'm just arguing on nothing. I think Kevin Holland wins. I think he wins by round 2 KO. He's got a good defense of his back, so I think it's going to neutralize some of the threat off Vicente Luque, and I think he puts Luque out in round number 2 with his like long, awkward, unorthodox striking. Moving on. Mario Bautista versus Patchy Mix. Listen, Tapology are all picking Patchy Mix to win. If I look at this fight in Tapology and I look at how people have picked this fight, I think it's something like 85% of people are picking Patchy Mix to win. Now, I understand that nobody likes... Yes, 82 to 18. Wow. Nobody likes Mario Bautista because of what he did to Aldo, and I agree. Right, what he did to Aldo was stupid and it was horrible. Take emotion out of this. Take that Aldo performance out of your mind. Mario Bautista is an absolute monster, and he fights out of submissions. And Patchy Mix is a submission artist. I think Mario Bautista gets this one done by decision. I'm being completely brutally honest here. Mario Bautista is a good fighter, and he is like a monster. And he's a monster now with a point to prove to the MMA community that he is a competent, entertaining fighter. For that reason, I think he gets this one done. And I think Patchy Mix, although he's a good submission artist, if the guy you're trying to submit just refuses to tap or just refuses to go out cold and just fights, you're not going to submit him unless you catch him with the perfect submission. So I think Mario Bautista wins this. I think he wins it by decision. A very close 29-28 decision, but I think it's going to be a fun fight. But just because of how Mario Bautista is going to respond to the amount of hate he's getting for the Aldo performance. Because it was an awful performance against Aldo. And he just held him against the cage like a complete pussy. So I can see Patchy Mix jumping a guillotine. I can see Mario Bautista trying to shoot a double leg. Patchy Mix like defending with a guillotine. And then Bautista just fighting his way out of it. So I see Bautista winning this fight. Close 29-28 decision. I think he wins it. He's a very good fighter. It's just everyone hates him for the Aldo performance. So moving on. Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer is... Joe. First things first. These guys, Joe Pyfer just hates all Mexicans. He just hates Gastelum's gut, bro. That's why he's on the main card. There's like these guys are gonna make the press conference fun. I know for a fact Merab and O'Malley's gonna sit there with his terrible mic skills. Go, I've stopped gooning for this camp, guys. I'm gonna beat Merab, and then Gastelum and Joe Pyfer are just gonna go at it. It's gonna make the press conference funny. I'm here for it. Joe Pyfer is going to absolutely floor him in round number 1 and knock him out cold. Probably one of the hardest hitters, if not the hardest hitter inside the middleweight division. Joe Pyfer, round 1 knockout over Kelvin Gastelum. It's the lock of the night. Moving on. Juliana Pena versus Kayla Harrison. Harrison's going to win this. I'm going to be honest. She is like she's a minus 625 favorite. Pena strikes with her eyes closed. Then again, Pena does also have a win over Amanda Nunes. 11-5. The champion of the division is 11-5 in her career. Jeez, man. That's some crazy. Oh my god. Jeez. Never mind, doesn't really matter. She strikes with her eyes closed. It was also, she lost to Pennington, if we're going to be honest. That was a loss. I'm looking at her resume here. She came off a loss to Amanda Nunes almost 3 years ago. Goes straight back into a title fight against Pennington, robs Pennington, and now she's fighting against Harrison. I think Harrison beats her. By decision. I'm going to say by decision. Could be a submission as well. Who knows? But realistically, these guys are also going to make the press conference fun, I guess, with their beef. But Pennington's awful. Harrison, if you don't beat Pennington, then the women's bantamweight division is just it's just wild, I guess. I don't know. It's unpredictable. You can't really predict anything. It's a coin flip every time. Moving on to the main event. I did a breakdown on this fight. O'Malley versus Dvalishvili. It's hard to bet against Merab, but at the same time, O'Malley is one of those fighters where if you give him an extra 25 minutes inside the cage to find a knockout blow, he will find it. He's that type of fighter. He's a sniper, okay? He's a sniper. Boom, boom, 360 no-scope type thing, you know what I mean? I think O'Malley... What? I think O'Malley will drop him in this fight. He should drop him. After 5 rounds with Merab, you should be able to get his weird, unorthodox, kind of goblin-like movement down where he like goes side to side and he shuffles about a little bit. You should be able to get his movement down and try and find him. His teeps to the body works very well. Any strike straight down the pipe on Merab works. So teeps to the body, front kicks, knees down the middle, similar to what he had against Vera. Straight rights, they work as well. Any straight punch works against Merab. It's just, is Merab going to push a pace that O'Malley can keep up with for 5 rounds? I don't know. Why did I say I don't know? Yes, he will. He's going to do that. That's what Merab does. That being said, though, Merab does also, explode into exchanges like a tard. So what he does sometimes, he just like, if you watch the Cejudo fight in round number 1, Merab just runs forwards at you and like flurries a bunch of punches. And then if he misses a few of them, he's just kind of, he's just exploded at you for no reason at all. And Cejudo caught him, by that way. Like, Cejudo caught him, stumbled him backwards. If Cejudo can catch him, O'Malley can knock him out. You know what I'm saying? That being said, though, it's impossible to pick against Merab. O'Malley's going to have a good round 1 and round 2, and then Merab's just going to pull away and win 48-47. I'm going to pick Merab to win by decision. Those are my picks for this card. Let me know what you think of them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.